Welcome to the Core Connection. I'm Mira Rubin here with you on Enlightened World Network. And today's topic is comfort. And really, what we're talking about is how to comfort ourselves, how to feel comfort in times of difficulty and challenge. So, before we get started, let's take a minute or two to settle in and get present. Let's take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And imagine clean, crisp oxygen just flooding your lungs, flowing into your bloodstream, nourishing every cell, every organ, bringing vital life force. And as you exhale, exhale any negativity, any stress, any tension. And now let's take another deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And this time, imagine brilliant, bright light just coursing through you with electrical, wonderful, vital life energy and lighting up all your molecules and your electrons and energizing and bringing incredible energy and vitality. And as you exhale, exhale any remaining stress, tension, toxicity, negativity. And now let's just gently press our palms together really softly. Let's rub our fingers against our palms and feel how delicious that sensation is to be able to bring you present right here in this moment, in your body, right here, right now. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's great to be here with you. And today we're going to talk about comfort because so many times we feel sorrow, we feel grief, we feel pain, and just can't find any respite from that challenge. And we have the opportunity within ourselves to source that comfort. It all starts with being able to sort of extract ourselves from the pain or the experience of the moment to be able to really deliberately focus our attention on a moment in our lives when we did experience comfort, when we did experience that peace, and if we can't remember a moment when that happened, we can presence ourselves to start, for instance, with even breathing, breathing in and breathing out in even counts that can start to calm us. And then we can start asking ourselves questions, generative questions like, what would it feel like if I felt comforted? Where would I feel that comfort in my body? What would it feel like if, what would comfort me? So maybe the feeling of someone's arms around you, maybe you can just feel that feeling and imagine that moment. Maybe it's a meta you, maybe it's you in a different time, just reaching out to comfort you. And we have the capacity, the mind doesn't make a distinction between actual events or actual occurrences and things that we vividly imagine. And so it behooves each of us to cultivate our capacity to imagine, because when we choose to imagine good things, when we choose to imagine ourselves being wrapped in a warm blanket of love and caring and kindness, and we can just sink into that imagining, our body registers it as real as anything in the world where somebody might actually be wrapping their arms around us. And so we can, if we can give ourselves the presence to be able to sink in to these these rich emotions, because we have this tremendous store of experience to draw from. We have a tremendous store of emotions that we have the ability to access truly at any given time. The thing that I'm thinking at the moment is that oftentimes in passages that feel difficult or sad um, or painful, we don't we don't often allow ourselves to separate from that and care for ourselves. That's one thing. And the other thing is that sometimes, and this is such an interesting phenomenon, sometimes when people feel pain, they feel like they don't have a right to feel better. Good morning, Dido. Good morning. We're talking about comfort and how, good morning, Irma, and how we can bring comfort to ourselves through vivid imagination or remembrance. And so the thing is that, especially when we're sorrowful over a loss of a person, someone dear in our lives, we often feel that the only way that we can remember that person is through the pain that we feel. And so we hold on to that pain because we don't want to lose the person that the pain relates to. And the thing is that it's a false equation. We can remember people with a lightness in our hearts, with an appreciation and a joy in our hearts, with a smile and laughter too, perhaps. And so um, the reason that I was talking about feeling, feeling this pain and feeling guilty perhaps if we let go of it because we think we're abandoning the memory of someone dear, uh, we can we don't have to feel that guilt because we can transform the way that we feel when we remember these people. But then the point here is, in those moments of deep pain, if we can recognize that we're experiencing that, like kind of have this meta view of ourselves experiencing that, then we can choose to find comfort. And how do we do that? We can, as I said earlier, one way that we can find comfort is by imagining ourselves in a warm blanket and maybe somebody's arms around us and embracing us. And it could even be our all-knowing self that is embracing us and comforting us, and maybe speaking comforting words in our minds and in our hearts. And this this ability to self comfort is a really, really, really important thing. And when we think about comfortable, the word comfortable, what is it? It's comfort able, comfort able. And truly, any comfort is generated from inside. There may be outside circumstances, but for us to actually experience the comfort, that's something that is generated from within. The receptivity to the comfort, the ableness to be comforted. And so when we are uncomfortable, when we're uncomfortable, we're not sourcing the place within ourselves that allows us to access those feelings and that experience of comfort. And so when one of the things that we can think about is when you feel comfortable or when you feel comforted, how are you breathing? When you feel comforted, what is your posture? What is your position? How do you hold yourself physically? When you are comforted, when you're feeling comforted, um, for me, I imagine sort of a softness against my face or against my back, like a gentle stroke on my back, for instance. It makes me think of my cat. I'm not much different in that way, I guess. um, so Dido says comfort able. That's brilliant. Thank you. I've been thinking about this comfortable and uncomfortable, and what we get to do for ourselves is to cultivate our ability to experience and generate comfort for ourselves, especially I mean, we've all gone through a very, very challenging, disruptive, remarkable year. Rosalind says, good morning, Rosalind. Welcome, welcome. Rosalind says, I like that, comfort able. Yes. So we have so many skills and we have so many things that we put our attention to. How about if we put more attention to cultivating abilities and strengths that really, truly support us? And so we all have had moments, even if they may be fleeting, of experiencing comfort. And it's not, again, comfortable. We talk about I'm comfortable, meaning something financial or material. I'm materially comfortable, but we don't usually say materially. And the thing is that the material possessions are not necessarily what make us comfortable. I mean, we might have a comfortable chair, but us sitting in that chair and allowing ourselves to relax in that chair, for instance, allowing our body to conform to it in a way that feels comfortable is still something that is generated from within. And so when when we're feeling um, uncomfortable, let's look at what does it take? What does it take to presence ourselves to some a way to comfort ourselves? So sometimes it's something like we can talk ourselves down, right? So if you're in a place of panic, what's happening typically is that there's an internal conversation going on that is working you into more and more of a frenzy, and that is creating greater and greater discomfort. So one of the obvious things is to change the conversation. And so if you notice that you're fearful, and that's the key, obviously, is being able to notice it instead of being washed away in the tide of this powerful emotion. When you come up for air and notice, wow, I'm really sad, for instance, or I'm really panicked, or I'm very frightened. One of the things that we can do for ourselves is to parent ourselves. And in parenting ourselves, we can be nurturing and loving and just say, talk to ourselves and say, it's okay, honey. It's okay. Just take a deep breath. It's going to be okay. You're all right. I'm here. We're going to make it through. Whatever the words are that you need to hear to know that it's okay. And, you know, what would you be telling a dear, dear loved, dearly loved child, for instance, if that child were frightened, that would comfort them? And we can do that for ourselves as well, and allow ourselves to receive that comfort. So if we're feeling like we're a disaster, there is a part of us, that could still take the role of saying, oh, sweetheart, you're so wonderful, there's so much good in you. And to allow that voice to intervene and to comfort you. And so we get to practice and exercise our comfort muscles, right? Or our comforting muscles, both, so that we can comfort ourselves. So we talked about conversation that's going to impact our experience of comfort or discomfort. And we have talked about physiology, like what's your body, like how does it feel if you just hug yourself? You know, like if you can presence yourself to just giving yourself a delicious hug. I know that just now when I did that, it was like I got a surge of energy that helped to make me smile. Hello, Lillian. Welcome, welcome. Haven't seen you here for a while. Great to have you back. So you know, maybe hugging yourself is a powerful thing. So Irma says, I usually come up immediately with some way to not even let myself perceive the joy or comfort, so I keep myself in discomfort. So I don't think that you're necessarily alone in that, Irma. I think, first of all, we often get comfortable with our discomfort. And what I mean by that is the discomfort can be familiar. And because it's familiar, sometimes we choose to stay in that because it's familiar. But even if I'm just going to say more practice, Irma, with you know, letting yourself perceive the joy or the comfort. So when maybe in the moment of being uncomfortable, there's a way to bring yourself back or bring yourself into this other emotion. So you can use your breath, you can talk to yourself with kindness and love and compassion. You can imagine being with somebody who has in your life been a source of comfort for you. And if you allow yourself to sink into being present with that person that gave you comfort, you can experience again. Um, so Liliane says, thank you. Haven't been many places, a lot going on in my life. Good to see you again. I know, Liliane, I know there's a lot going on, and I wish you grace and ease, and to all of us, you know, may we all experience grace and comfort and an ability to comfort ourselves in the times that are so challenging. And here's the thing, we get to give ourselves permission to take the time to give ourselves the comfort that we need. I'm talking about the comforting that we need, right? To ease our spirit and ease our soul, to to be able to help ourselves to continue, you know, to reboot, to help ourselves to keep on keeping on. You know, sometimes we need reassurance, we need comforting, and we can reassure ourselves. The thing is that we get to step outside the loop of those patterns that are that are continually remaking the discomfort. Now, even if we feel physical discomfort, we do have the ability to comfort ourselves. And to, as we, like, let's say we're experiencing anxiety. And in the experience of anxiety, maybe, our heart is racing. Maybe we're having shortness of breath or feeling like there's pressure on our chest or something. And we can bring ourselves perhaps into, and it's worth trying, into a state of comfort by speaking into that. By saying, even though I'm feeling this in my chest, I love you. It's okay. It's okay that you're feeling what you're feeling. It's okay that you are feeling tense. And how about what would it feel like to relax a bit? What would it feel like to just slow down? And it's okay to do that. And however you need to speak to yourself gently. Thank you, Rosalind. I am safe. Yes. And so here's the thing. I've talked about tapping. um, if you go to the tappingsolution.com, there are all kinds of meditations with tapping that really help to clear a lot of anxiety and stress and fear. And the thing about it is, in the process of tapping, there are all these words that are spoken, and the idea ultimately is that I am accepting me for exactly who I am, where I am right in this moment. And so we have the ability to do that. And we have the ability to, when we're facing fear, it's like, okay, I get it. You're really frightened right now. And you're frightened of all these things that you're thinking could go wrong or might go wrong. But here I am being the parent to myself. If I were being a parent to a child, I would be telling that child, all those things that you're thinking about in the future haven't happened. And there's just as much possibility that wonderful things will happen instead. In this moment, we don't know what could happen. Anything could happen. So it means that all that bad stuff that I'm dreaming up right now is really just in my imagination. So maybe there's something else that we could be dreaming of instead. Maybe we can be thinking of other scenarios that are maybe even joyful rather than terrifying. And around the idea of safety, maybe we can imagine ourselves, how do we feel when we're safe? What does that feel like in my body to feel safe? Well, what I notice is that if when I feel safe, my shoulders are more relaxed, and I breathe more deeply. And so if I notice that that's what happens when I feel safe in the midst of this panic, maybe I can just sort of allow myself to relax my shoulders or slow my breath, for instance. So we have so many resources at our fingertips and in our bodies and beings that we don't even recognize and remember. And that's really the crux of it, is remembering in the moments that we really need it, that we can comfort ourselves, that we can create safety for ourselves. And so perhaps because in the moment it might be really, really challenging to do that if we haven't already done that, and if we haven't already figured out how to do that effectively, maybe we can take some time to practice and become more comfort able. and actually practice what it is to access comfort and to comfort ourselves. Like what gives us a greater sense of ease. Good morning, Tammy. Welcome, welcome. It's great to have you here. So, yeah, we have the ability to comfort ourselves, and it takes maybe takes practice. It definitely takes a willingness to give ourselves that time and that attention. And I want to say it's not a luxury, it's an essential, it's a necessity. And sometimes, all our stories, we tend, here's the thing, again, to what you were saying, Irma, not even letting yourself perceive the joy or comfort. And I think along with that, we have these conversations going in our brains all the time, in our minds, round and round and round. And most often, I think if they're about us, they're generally probably pretty negative. And the thing is that if you were around somebody that was talking negatively to you about you all the time, would you hang out with that person? I mean, seriously, would you? So why do that to ourselves? And so maybe we get to transform that. We don't this is not a prescription to beat yourself up for speaking negatively to yourself, because that just feeds the flame. It's like, oh, sweetheart, I hear these awful things you're saying to yourself. What can we say that, I mean, let's turn that around. Let's turn that around. So to be compassionate, like if you had a child that was giving themselves horrible messages and telling themselves how terrible and awful they were, or incompetent, or how there was something wrong with them all the time, you would be telling them something else, right? You would not be reaffirming all their negative self-talk. So for ourselves, let's compassionately see that voice that is the critic, or the voice that's always questioning everything that might be good, or the voice that's questioning whether or not I'm worthy. You know what? Let's parent ourselves and nurture and nourish ourselves and heal ourselves, so that we can grow into the wholeness that is there for the taking. So Irma says, I might start overriding the thought with repeating, I can, and I am changing and growing all the time. That sounds great, Irma. That sounds like a really excellent start. And maybe just, I love myself, if you can get to that place, is I love, like you can be the parent to you and say, I love you, all of you, every part of you. And I see you changing and growing all the time. And yeah, whatever message, I mean, I think I can and I am changing and growing all the time is a beautiful thing. And there's all kinds of conversation that we have that's negative for ourselves. I mean, it goes into all different areas, right? Well, why not develop and cultivate the same amount of positive, or even more positive conversation, so that that becomes more of what's there for us as we navigate our day. It's like, oh wow, this is really this is a moment for me to see something new. What can I learn new in this moment? Rather than all the judging, maybe we can redirect our monkey mind attention by asking an awesome question, like, what is there available in this moment that's new or different, or that I can learn? you know, because that'll just shut that other noise down because your mind has something to occupy it. So I think I'll call it a day today, and I encourage all of us to practice to be more comfort able, and to be able to comfort ourselves, and and let's see how that goes. So that's it for today. I'm Mira Rubin. This is the Core Connection, and I go live every weekday morning on the Enlightened World Network Facebook page. And please check out the other awesome programming on Enlightened World Network, and be part of the community of people that are filling the world with light. So lots and lots of love to you. Until next time, hopefully tomorrow. I really look forward to being with you. Lots of love.